Hi everyone. I thought I'd start reading a book to you today that I was going to start with my year 3 class. We just started our topic about the environment and how we all need to try and protect it as much as possible, this wonderful world that we live in. So we didn't get to start it, but I thought we might as well get through it now. This is called Song of the Dolphin Boy. It's written by Elizabeth Laird, and the blurb on the back says it's a moving adventure about the importance of looking after our oceans, which is what we started to think about back at school. So anyway, I hope you enjoy it. Let's get started then. So, there's a little map inside of the place where the story's set. Which is a place called Stromhead in Scotland. I'll give you a little look at that. You can see there's a lighthouse, there's a school, there's a harbour, lots of boats bobbing around, there's beach. Anyway, let's see what happens. So, chapter 1. It all began at Dougie Lamb's 8th birthday party. It wasn't a big party. In fact, there were only 4 other children at it, including Dougie's older sister, Kyla. Mrs Lamb, Dougie's mom, had been so excited about organising her darling boy's party that she'd have invited 150 children if there'd been 150 children to invite. But Stromhead was a very small village in a far-off corner of Scotland, and there were only a few houses clustered around the harbour, along with a tiny school and a lighthouse up on the cliff top. And there weren't any other children from the village to ask, except for Finn, but nobody ever invited Finn to anything. Kyla and Mrs Lamb were both small, with loads of smooth blonde hair, and they both liked everything to be pretty and perfect. Sweet was their favourite word, followed by cute. Kyla's dad called them my sugar plums. He worked out on the oil rigs out at sea and was often away from home. Dougie missed him dreadfully. Mr Lamb would never have given him a kitten jigsaw for his birthday like Kyla had, which was nearly as bad as the little Prince Charming outfit from his mum. No, Dougie's dad gave him useful, interesting things like sets of spanners and a chain with a padlock and a key. Dougie had adored them as soon as he'd seen them. This was a grown-up present, something useful. He could stop things from opening and tie things down. It made him feel in control. In fact, the padlock and chain were Dougie's favourite possessions of all time. Kyla and Mrs Lamb had been fussing round all morning, getting ready for the party, and at last the little gold clock on the mantelpiece in the sitting room struck a tinkly 3 times. It was time for the other children to arrive. In fact, they were all walking slowly up the road towards the Lamb's cottage, grumbling all the way. I never wanted to go to this stupid party anyway, Charlie groaned. He was short and stocky, with a head as hard and round as a cannonball. Knowing Dougie's mum, it'll be all soft and stupid and babyish. And anyway, my dad was going to take me out fishing in my own wee boat this afternoon. Amir grunted in sympathy. And I just got to the next level in my game, he said with a sigh. Mum only lets me play on my computer on Saturday afternoons. I have to wait a whole week now. Amir shifted his glasses up his nose with one long, slim finger. His forehead, under a heavy fringe of black hair, was creased in a frown. Jazz looked at him sympathetically. Amir's mum, Mrs Farida, was their class teacher and very strict. Well, she said, trying to be fair, at least there'll be a cake and everything. Anyway, Dougie can't help it that there aren't any other kids of his age around. Charlie scowled at her. Why do you have to be so stupid and nice all the time? She crossed her dark eyes, stuck her tongue out at him, pushed her thumbs into her ears and waggled the rest of her hands. Her freckled face looked so funny, framed by bouncing brown hair, that Amir burst out laughing, and even Charlie had to grin. The three of them, along with Kyla and Doogie, had known each other almost since they were born, and Jazz had learned long years ago, that it was pointless to rise to Charlie's bait. They were almost at the lamb's cottage when Amir hissed, "Watch out, there's Finn." Finn, the only other person in their tiny class in the village's little school, was walking along the road in front of them with his hands thrust deep into his pockets and his shoulders hunched unhappily. He had always known the other children all his life, but they'd always avoided him. There was just something about Finn, the way his pale brown hair was slicked so smoothly from his forehead, perhaps, or the sad aura of loneliness that clung to him.